And then for the people coming on, I'm just going to say we're going to be using a chair today. So you're going to want to have a chair nearby for today's practice. Otherwise, you're just going to need yourself and your mat. So let's make our way over to our mats and we'll begin lying down. So find your way onto the floor, lying on your mat. Feel free to support your head in some way if that's more comfortable. And as you lie back, you can have your eyes open or your eyes closed, whichever you prefer. But take this time now to bring your awareness to the here and now. Right now, you're lying down, your body is relaxing, you're hearing the sound of my voice. And in this moment, everything is pretty much okay, right? Whatever's going on elsewhere, in this moment, you're lying on your mat, hearing the sound of my voice. And we can just inhabit fully the here and now. And whatever's on our to-do list, whatever else is going to happen for the rest of today, for the rest of the week, we're going to set that aside and embody the present moment. So notice how your body's feeling as you're lying down. See, as your body relaxes into the support of the floor, if you can relax any more, like release any part of the body that's clenching or gripping. Soften the roof of your mouth. Relax your jaw. And begin to just tap into the feeling of breathing. Feel your in-breath and feel your out-breath. When we think about our breathing, we kind of default to thinking about the inhalation. But if you've practiced with me for a while, you know that we also really focus on the exhalation. Because that exhale is the way the body just allows itself to relax. So we practice letting the exhale empty all the way out because that's so good for our nervous system. And when we release the breath fully, then it makes space for that next nice full breath in. So if we just sit and pay attention to our breathing here, we breathe in the present moment. It helps us to inhabit the present moment and to feel the body. Feel how the breath moves in the body. So in this present moment, as you're feeling your body, notice and then recognize and acknowledge how you're doing physically this morning. What's going on for you physically? You might, now that you're relaxed, you might not be feeling like any areas that are chronically tight or any areas where you've got injuries or whatever, but you know about those things. And so just can you recognize what's going on in your body and take what that tells you with a level of kindness and caring and compassion. So rather than being like frustrated because you've got a pain here or there, just like recognize and with a loving kindness and acceptance, just be okay with that. And then connect with how you're feeling mentally and emotionally. And it's been beautiful weather and we've got, the election is behind us. We might be feeling really great, but we still got a lot going on in the world and in our lives. So if you've got some heavy emotion, Same thing. Can you be kind and accepting with what you recognize is going on for you? Just as if you were telling a friend about what's going on with you, your friend would be accepting and kind, most likely, and encouraging and supportive and compassionate. So let's be aware of how we're feeling. And rather than judging it, let's try and be kind and compassionate. So this is our practice, paying attention to what's going on for us and treating ourselves with kindness. We're going to do that for the next hour, really just focusing on ourselves. And in reinforcing this practice of being kind and compassionate, then perhaps as we finish our practice today and we start to interact with others, we can show these same qualities of kindness and compassion to those we interact with. So when you're ready with your next breath in, you can go ahead and open your eyes. We'll take our feet off the floor and hug knees into chest. If you hug your knees in, maybe sway a little bit, releasing your low back. And then bringing the knees center, let's lift the legs up in the air. We can drop our arms at our side. And we're just gonna start to flex and point one foot in the other. You might kind of walk your heels on the ceiling, kind of loosening up the legs, the ankles, the feet. Let's circle the feet around in one direction and then circle the feet around the other way. And with your legs up in the air, it's fine if your knees are a little bit bent. But I want you to make a very small circle with your legs, just a little circle, and then bring your legs back to the top. So when we do that, we'll keep doing that a few more times. When you circle your legs around, chances are your abdominals kick in to support this movement. If your abdominals didn't kick in, then your low back would try to do the work of supporting this movement. So make sure that your low belly is working here to support this circular movement of your legs. And if the movement is really small, the low belly can work a little bit. And if you made the circle a little bit bigger, then the low belly would have to work a little harder to support this movement. So you decide how big of a circle to make in a way that it doesn't strain your low back. We're circling in the same direction, and maybe the circles are getting a little bigger, and maybe they get so big that you start to notice that it's really starting to strain your low back. So then you might make those circles a little smaller. And we're going to go around in this direction one more time. And then once you come to the top, start with small circles in the other direction, coming back to the top and stopping. And make sure that you're really supporting this deep contraction in your lower belly to support the movement of your legs, circling around and stopping at the top. Make sure you're not supporting this by clenching your jaw or by your arms pressing into the floor. We want this movement to be supported from the lower abdominals, supporting the circular movement of your legs. Let's circle around 2 more times in this direction, just warming up the low belly here. Great. And then we're going to bend the knees. Let's take our arms straight out to the side. We'll take a breath in. As we exhale, let's let the knees drop over to the right, halfway or so. Hold them there, take a breath. And with the exhale, bring them back to center. And then let the knees drop over to the other side, halfway or so. Hold them there and take a breath. And exhale back to center. We're going to continue doing that a few more times. Knees going over to one side, holding them there, taking a breath. And then exhaling back up. So go as far as you can where it's challenging to hold them there. Take a breath and bring the knees back up. You could do this with bent knees. You could try it with straight legs, going over to one side, holding them there and taking a breath. Exhaling back up, letting the knees drop over to the other side, holding them there and taking a breath. Exhaling back up. Let's do it one more time. Again, try not to use your arms for this. You're using your side waist muscles to bring the legs back up over to the other side. Hold them there. Take a breath. And exhale back up. Great. All right, we'll bend the knees now. Let's lift our heads up off the floor. Clasp our hands beneath the head, letting the weight of the head rest into the hands. We'll take a breath in. As we exhale, let's knit the ribs into the belly and curl up head, neck, and shoulders. So you're looking right at those knees, and then inhale and release back. We're going to exhale again and curl up. And this time, extend your right leg out and bring your right elbow across towards that left knee. And then bring the knee back as you inhale your head back. Exhale and curl up. Extend your left leg out and twist across, left elbow to left to right knee. And then bring the knee in and lower down, breathe. Exhale, come up, right leg extends and you twist across. And then bring the knee back, inhale back. Exhale, curl up, left leg extends, twist across. And then lower down. So we're coming up and twisting across. You can think about elbow to knee. You could also think as you twist across about rib to opposite thigh. So kind of twisting your midsection, bringing those right ribs towards the left thigh and coming back, curling up left ribs to right thigh. So do that a few more times. Curl up and twist across and lower down. Curl up, twist across and lower down. One more time on each side. Really waking up the midsection here. And last one. Great. Release your head, release your feet. Let's go ahead and roll to the side, push yourself up and come all the way around to all fours. And if you're kneeling on a wood floor and you want to cushion your knees, go ahead and do so, or on some sort of hard surface. So knees beneath hips, wrists beneath shoulders, spine nice and long. You can move around a little bit here. You can move your shoulders or your hips. You could extend or flex your spine in a little bit of cat-cow. Just kind of loosen up in any way that feels nice for you. And then making your way just to a nice long neutral spine. Let's curl our toes under and lift the knees a little bit off the mat. So this is called hovering table. And this is asking the arms to work more, the legs to work more, the core kicks in. So holding here is a nice challenge. We'll take a breath and then we'll drop the knees down. So you're welcome to do that a few more times, or this time we'll start the same way, hovering the knees off the floor. And then could you take one hand and just tap the opposite knee and put that hand down? Could you take the other hand and tap the opposite knee and put that hand down? So this is like level 2. You could just be hovering your knees, or you could be tapping and putting a hand down so that we're bearing a little weight and adding a little impact for the muscles and the bones of the shoulder girdle here. So let's take a little break and drop the knees down. Maybe you uncurl your toes. Maybe you shake out your wrists if your wrists give you some challenge. We're going to have one more level here. So this next level, option A is just to hover your knees. Option B is to touch your hand to your opposite knee. And option 3 is as you're touching the knee, lift that foot up. And then as you touch the opposite knee, lift your foot up. So all kinds of options here. We'll do this third round for a few more moments here. Just challenging yourself in whatever way seems appropriate for you. Maybe a couple more of these. And then we'll drop back onto our knees and let's take child's pose. Sitting back, you can have your arms out in front, your arms at your side, or your arms supporting your head. Wherever you are, let your neck relax, connect with your breath. Another chance to check in, notice how you're feeling, and offering yourself love and kindness and compassion today. That's our practice this morning. That's what I'm suggesting you focus on this morning is just being aware of how you're feeling and accepting however you're feeling with a sense of real empathy. And then with your next breath in, lift your head up and reach your arms way out in front. We're going to make our way to downward facing dog. So take your hips up and back. And as you ground through your hands and draw your hips up and back, let the weight of your head hang. I think this is a powerful thing to feel the weight of your head dangling off of your spine. This traction. This is an opportunity to release tension in a place where we really tend to carry it, right at the base of the skull. Let your head kind of shake. Yes, no. And just free up your neck here. And then let's bend a knee and press a heel down. And bend that knee and press the other heel down. Maybe with this beautiful weather, you've been walking a bit more. It's always nice to loosen up heels, ankles. Let's bend both knees and see if we can lengthen the spine by drawing the hips a little further up and back as we take a deep breath in and out. And then walk your hands back towards your feet, dropping your heels down. As you come here into this forward fold, really feel your feet connected, your toes, the inner outer edges of your feet, your heels. Send your roots down. Take a big breath into your upper back. Let that breath empty. And then draw your belly in and roll yourself up. Let your spine unfurl and stack. Eventually bring your head up. And then let's turn and face towards our device. So we're going to work on balance a little bit. So if you wanted to grab your chair and have it next to you to hold on to, that might be appropriate for this. We're going to stand with our feet beneath us with our hands on our hips. Let's put the weight on one foot and lift the other foot off the floor. And then the foot that's lifted, I want you to just swing it forward and down. Forward and down. You could place it down each time or just hover it. So we're asking the standing leg to support this movement here. So it'll start to strengthen those muscles that help us to balance the ankles, the calves, the knees, the hips. Let's take that swinging leg out to the side now. So the supporting leg has to work a little differently to compensate for this movement of the swinging leg out to the side. We'll do that a couple more times. And then the swinging leg, we're going to take it behind. So keep your belly a little bit turned on here so you're not going to dump into your low back. We're just taking that leg back so the glutes are going to fire. Let's do a couple more of those. So your standing leg is probably starting to feel this. And then we'll stand on both legs. All right, let's try that on the other side. So we're going to balance on the other leg and hover the other foot. And then we're going to bring it forward and down. You can touch down, or maybe you can keep hovering it. Swing that leg forward a few more times, like that. All right, great. Now let's take that swinging leg out to the side. And the standing leg has to work a little differently. So you can just see how this is building strength in the muscles that we use to balance, right? Let's take that swinging leg behind now. A little bit of tone in the belly as the leg goes back. You don't have to lift it super high, but you're just going to feel how the glutes work to lift that leg behind you. Do that a few more times. Good, nice work. Plant that foot. Let's just do a couple of heel raises. Just waking up those muscles a little bit. The feet and the ankles, and the calves. Nice. All right. Last one of these. And then let's get ready to flow. We're going to come and stand at the front of our mats. With your arms at your side, plant your feet, stand nice and tall. Let's take the arms and reach them out. Get nice and broad. And then we're going to reach the arms up. Can you lengthen? Feel the ribs slide up as your arms stretch up. And then take your arms out. We'll swan dive. So knees can soften as you fold over. When we soften the knees, it creates a little greater ease in the low back. Let's bring hands to shins and start to lengthen through the crown of the head, coming to flat back. Again, knees can be soft here. You can always straighten your knees if that feels better for you. But soft knees can be easier on the back. Let's fold over here, letting the head and arms dangle down. This time we're going to take a breath into the upper back. And then on the exhale, we're going to extend the spine forward. You can press into your shins, lengthen through the crown of your head as your breath empties. One more time. Inhale as you round. And then exhale as you extend. Great. All right. Let's bend our knees, bring our hands to the floor, and step back to downward facing dog. Making sure that you feel the weight on the whole hand, thumbs, fingers, knuckles, hips drawing up and back, space across your upper back. If your shoulder blades are squeezing in, create a little more space between them here. Take a breath here. As you exhale, lower your hips down, shoulders come over wrists, lower into your straight arm plank. Pushing into the floor with your hands, firming up the arms. Can you firm up the legs? Kind of fire up the muscles in the front of the thighs, back of the thighs, a little bit of engagement in the glutes here. So a lot of muscles firing to hold us in this position. If you feel like you need to put your knees down, go ahead and do so. We're going to try a little bend in the elbows now. Elbows pointing back towards the heels rather than winging out to the side. As the elbows bend, can you keep your hips from dropping down? Keep your belly firing. Let's straighten the arms and pull the hips up and back. Back to down dog. Take a breath. Again, lower into that straight arm plank and feel the strength in your body. Muscles firing. Lift your hips a half an inch and take a breath. Exhale and bend your elbows and hold for one more breath. Nice work. Let's drop the knees down now and lower the belly and chest to the floor. Coming into prone mountain, heels of the hands slide back a bit, chest sinks down, hovering your head close to the floor, reaching back through the toes. Let's feel the area between the shoulder blades. You might slide your shoulder blades up and slide your shoulder blades down a few times, and then let your shoulder blades land right where they like to be. And then from right between there, start to lift your chest up. Start to pull your heart forward as the heel of your hands press back, and just create length through your spine as your sternum pulls forward. And then lower back down. From prone mountain, I just want us to push back up to knees. Curl the toes under and lift the knees. We're going to take a breath here, and we're going to lower the knees, lower the chest, come into prone mountain, and then inhale up to that baby cobra, lengthening here. Exhale back down. We're going to do that push up again. Push up to knees, curl the toes under, lift the knees, take a breath. Very good again, lower knees, lower ourselves down. Find that prone mountain, nice and long. And then from right between the shoulder blades, inhale up to baby cobra. Let's hold baby cobra, lift our hands, lift our elbows, hug the elbows in, and then release the hands, release the chest. This time, keeping hands down, we'll inhale up to baby cobra. And if we like, we can push down and come up a bit higher into cobra. And then lower back down. All right, let's make our way up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Looking forward, we'll walk our feet up towards our hands and plant our feet beneath us. Hold it over. Let's take a breath into the upper back. Exhale and extend the spine forward. Hands can go to shins. Inhale and round. And this time on an exhale, start to sweep your arms out. While you're exhaling, reach your arms overhead. And then inhale as your arms come down. A little different than we usually do. Let's try that different way here. We're going to take a breath in first. And then as we exhale, we're going to reach the arms overhead. A little different. We're going to inhale and fold forward. And exhale and extend the spine forward. We're going to inhale and round. And then we're going to plant the hands and step back to downward facing dog. We'll take a breath here. Exhale to straight arm plank. Nice and strong. Take a breath here. Exhale, a little bend in the elbows. We'll take a breath here. Exhale and lower all the way down to belly. And then let's bring our forearms on the floor. Get your elbows right beneath your shoulders. And then slice down with your forearms. Press down to lift your chest up. We're going to curl the toes under. And we'll lift our hips. We could be on our knees in a kneeling forearm plank. Or we could lift the knees in a full forearm plank. Whether you're on your knees or your knees are up, I want to see if you could lift your hips 1 inch and then bring them back down. Or maybe 2 inches. Just lift them up just a small amount and then lower them back down. Lift them up as a small amount and then lower them back down. Do that 2 more times. Lift your hips up a small amount and lower them back down. Last time. Lift them up a small amount. And good job. You can drop to knees, drop your hips, take your elbows wide, release your head onto your hands. Let everything relax as you breathe in and out. Check in with how you're feeling. Offer yourself some kindness, some compassion, some understanding. As your upper body is relaxing, let's press the tops of the feet into the floor, press the front of the hips down, and lift the legs up. Pointing back through your toes so your legs feel really long. Can you press the hips down a bit more and lift the legs a little bit higher? Let's try to hug the heels in toward the midline, and then separate the legs a bit, and then hug the heels in toward the midline, and separate. One more time, hug the heels in, and then separate, and then relax the legs down. Let's bring our arms to our side, back of the hands on the floor, palms to the ceiling. Getting long toes to crown. We're going to start with the legs, press the hips down and lift the legs up. We'll reach back through the fingertips as we pull the heart forward and inhale and lift the chest up. Nice long locust pose. First, we're going to think about length, and then could we press down to lift up a bit more? Lift the legs, lift the chest, pull the heart forward, reaching back through the fingertips, take a breath, and exhale and lower. Nice work. Hands come back next to chest. Let's push back to knees, take the hips back, and sit all the way back into child's pose. Folding over the bent knees, supporting the head in some way, and breathing deeply. Next in breath, lift your head up, reach your arms out, and make your way to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out here. All right, we're going to make our way to a right foot forward lunge. So you option to drop to your knees and step your right foot out, or we could take the right leg up in the air, bend that knee, hug that knee and heel up and in, look forward and step through to lunge. So we'll all make our way into a right leg forward low lunge. Have your feet hip distance apart, and then bring your hand onto your front knee, both your hands actually, and then we're going to push into that front foot and rise up. Let's bring our hands to hips. We'll square our hips towards that short line of the mat, and then we're going to bend the front knee forward. Push that front foot down to straighten that leg. We'll bend that front knee forward. Push the foot down to straighten. Couple more. Bend the front knee forward. Push down to straighten. This time, bend your front knee forward as you press back through your back heel. Lift your heart up. Drop your arms down. Let's reach those arms out. And then we're going to reach the arms up toward the ceiling. So the arms, shoulders, and ribs lift up as we breathe in. And then we're going to exhale our hands all the way down to the floor. You can drop to the knees and go back to down dog, or just step back to down dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And then again, you could drop to knees and step the left foot out into lunge, or left leg goes up in the air. Breathe in, bend that knee, draw the knee up and in, and step that foot through to lunge. You all end up in this low lunge. And then let's bring hands onto the front knee to help us rise up. Bring hands to hips and square our hips to the front of the mat. Press back through the heel as you lift your heart up. Let's push the front foot down to straighten the front leg. Exhale to bend the knee. Push down to straighten. Exhale to bend. A couple more. Push down to straighten. Exhale to bend. Last time, push down to straighten. Exhale to bend. Let's drop our arms and lift our heart. Reach the arms out. Reach them up. Stretch up, reach up and breathe. And then exhale, hands down to the floor. Kneel or step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. We're just going to flow one more time into straight arm plank. Little bend in the elbows. And then lowering all the way down to prone mountain. Inhaling up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhaling back down. Making our way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out here. This time, let's walk our hands back towards our feet again, lowering our heels down. Fold it over. We're going to bend the knees and lower the hips. Bring hands to heart. Hips stay low, chest lifts up. We'll reach the arms forward and sit back in our low chair. Holding here for a bit. We can have our arms staying forward, or we could reach the arms overhead. We'll take a breath in and out here. And then pushing into the feet and legs, we'll inhale and rise up. And we'll exhale, arms down at our side. Nice work. Let's come into a wide stance. Take your feet nice and wide apart. We'll turn the right foot in. We'll turn the left foot out. Hands can go to hips. Let's just bend and straighten the front knee a few times. And find that distance apart between your legs that feels right for you. So you bend the knee and the knee goes kind of over the heel. Yeah. As the knee bends, the outer back foot stays down. This time we're going to bend the knee and pause here for a moment. Can we lift this front heel up just a bit and then feel as though you're pulling that heel back towards your midline? So there's this energy of pulling back, which fires up the whole underline of the leg and into the pelvic floor. We're going to take a breath here and then lower the heel down. Now from right down in the belly, we're going to tip the hips over. We'll let the front forearm come to rest on that front thigh. Let's take the other arm out in front and sweep that arm up and overhead. Thumb up, pinky down, so the arm kind of rolls down. Then we're going to roll the belly and chest towards your device. And then we'll roll the head to look down at the floor. Back foot presses down as that top arm reaches overhead. Big breath. Then sweep that arm down in front. Let it reach behind and bring you up into proud warrior. Arms opening out wide, spine rising up tall. Then we'll let the back hand come to rest on the back leg. We'll turn that front palm up. Let's inhale that arm up and back. Back hand slides down, top arm reaches up. And then come back to your proud warrior. Take a breath here. We're gonna do that all again. We're gonna tip over, bringing the front forearm on the front thigh. This back arm, we're gonna sweep it overhead, thumb up, pinky down. We'll roll the belly and chest to the device. Release the head to look down. Reach long with that top arm as you breathe in. And then sweep that arm down, reach it back behind you. Inhale, rise up, proud warrior. Exhale, back hand on the back leg. Front palm turns up. Inhale that arm up and back. Exhale, open back into proud warrior. Nice. Take a breath here. Exhale, relax your arms and straighten your front leg. We'll do that all on the other side. So we'll bring the feet forward and then we'll turn the left foot in and the right foot out. And then we're going to bend the front knee. Find a nice alignment. Back foot is turned in. Front knee ends up over the heel. And then we're going to straighten that front leg and bend. And straighten and bend. The next time we bend, we'll keep the knee bent. We're going to tip the hips over and rest the forearm on that front thigh. Other arm can come forward. It's going to sweep overhead, thumb up, pinky down. We're going to roll belly and chest under that arm towards the device. We're going to release our head down. Reach long with that top arm as we breathe in. And then sweep that arm down in front. Reach it back behind. Inhale and rise up to proud warrior. Exhale, back hand on the back leg. Front palm turns up. Inhale that arm up and back. Exhale, let that arm come down. Tip your hips over, forearm on the front thigh. Sweep the back arm forward and overhead. Roll the belly and chest towards your device. Release your head down. Reach long overhead as you breathe in. Sweep that arm down in front. Reach it back behind you. Rise up, breath in. Exhale, back hand on the back leg. Turn that front palm up. Inhale that arm up and back. Exhale, reach back out. Proud warrior. Take a breath here. Exhale, relax your arms and straighten your front leg. Nice job. Bring your feet forward. You can walk your feet in or you could jump your feet in. All right, I'm just going to close my door here because my neighbor is making noise out there. So now we're going to use our chair. So you can go towards, you could use a wall too, but I think a chair might be better. Or the edge of a couch or just something. I'll show you what we're going to do and then that might help you decide. So we're going to hinge forward and then put a hand on the chair. And then we're going to be swinging a leg back and bringing it down and then straightening up. Okay. So set yourself up where, that'll work for you. So we'll have our feet hip distance apart. Hinging means we bend at the hips. We don't bend at the waist, right? So we're going to hinge forward. And whenever we hinge forward, we have the option to keep the legs straight or a little softness in the knees. So we're going to hinge forward and we have the chair there for support. And we're going to let's balance on the right leg and swing the left leg back. And then we're going to bring that foot back and we're going to straighten up. Let's try it on the other side. We're going to hinge forward, balance on the left foot, swing the right leg back. See if you can get it straight back and then bring it down. Plant that foot and then straighten up. All right, we're going to hinge forward and swing the left leg back. And then as the leg comes down now, can you come up? So you could hinge forward and then swing the leg back, or could you do those movements simultaneously? So now as we hinge forward, can we swing the right leg back? And then as it comes down, we straighten up. So either way you choose. You can hinge forward first and then swing the leg back, or swing the leg back as you hinge forward, lower the leg as you come up. So either way, you're coming forward, leg goes back, and then you're coming up. So it's a little more challenging to swing the leg as you're hinging and then lower the leg as you're coming up. So maybe you do it the more challenging way a couple times. Maybe a couple times you hold the chair first and then swing the leg. Maybe you want to hold the chair each time. Maybe you want to swing each time. Either way, we're working on balance and strength here. Swinging the leg back and then coming back up And swinging the leg back and coming back up. We're going to do it like this one more time, whatever way you're doing it. Okay. So again, with your right leg as your balancing leg, we're going to swing back. We're going to place our hands on the chair. So we're in, this is called balancing warrior position. One foot down, other leg, we're going to press back through the heel. Now, you might feel the need to hold the chair the whole time. Could you bring one hand to heart? Put that hand down. Could you bring your other hand to heart? Put that hand down. Could you potentially bring both hands to heart? And hold this balance here, pressing back through the heel as you lengthen through the crown. If you want an added challenge, you could reach your arms forward, or you could keep your hands to heart, or you might be holding the chair. Whatever's right for you, take one more breath. And then you can put your hands on the chair and lower the leg, or you could just lower the leg and come up. All right, we're going to do that on the other side. So we're going to hinge forward and swing the right leg back. We're going to start with our hands on the chair. Press back through your heel and lengthen through your crown. So sometimes we're stronger on one leg than the other. Bring one hand to heart. Put that hand down. Bring your other hand to heart. You could continue alternating. You could try bringing both hands to heart. Can you hold here? If you want an added challenge, you could reach your arms forward. We're going to take another breath or two, pressing back through that back heel. When you're ready to come up, you can put your hands on the chair and come up, or just swing the leg down and come up. Nice job. Good work. All right, let's make our way down to the floor, and we're going to use our chair still. So I want you to have your chair a little bit on your mat so it's not going to slide away. If it's a really slippery surface, you might need to have the front and the back leg of your chair on the mat so that it's not going to slide away. All right, you want your chair solidly secure. And then we're going to lie down so that we can place our heels on the chair. And initially, be close enough to the chair that when you have your heels on the chair, you can have your hips under your knees. All right, you're not closer than that, and you're not further than that, right? Your hips aren't closer to the chair than your knees, and at this point, your hips aren't further back. Your hips are under your knees. We're going to separate our heels so they're as wide as our hips. We're going to have our arms at our side, and initially, I just want you to push your heels into the chair and not do anything else. But if you push your heels down, you're going to notice how the backs of your legs turn on. You could even grab your hamstrings a little bit. Notice how that feels. And then stop pushing your heels. So your hamstrings relax. And then push your heels down. Can you feel how they fire? Good. All right. So with your heels pushing down into your chair, let those hamstrings help you to lift your hips up off the floor. We're not going to come into our highest bridge. You might just come to the point where you feel your low ribs on the floor, and then lower out of that bridge. Let everything relax and take a breath. And then press your heels down. Again, lift your hips up. You don't need to come all the way up onto your shoulders, but you're really pressing down with your heels. So our goal here is to work the back of the legs. And then we're going to roll ourselves back down and let everything relax. Continuing, pressing the heels down, lift the hips up, hold up here, and then roll yourself down. So strong hamstrings really help to support our knees. Press the heels down, lift the hips up, take a breath, lower yourself down, and relax. All right, we're going to try to get our hips now a little further back. So initially our hips are under our knees. You can kind of scooch back so that your hips are further away from the chair than your knees. All right, your heels are still hip distance apart. And we're going to do the same thing. Press the heels down to lift the hips up. And you're probably going to notice that you just work the legs a little differently. And then lower yourself back down. And let everything relax. Okay, again, push your heels down, lift your hips up, take a breath at the top, and then lower yourself down and let the legs relax. One more time here. Push the heels down, lift the hips up, take a breath at the top, lower down, let everything relax. All right, so it's going to get harder the further away we go. If you don't want it to be harder, you could stay here or move a little closer. If you want a bigger challenge, you'd scooch back even more till your legs are pretty much almost straight, just a little bend in your knees. And then same thing. We're going to push the heels down to lift the hips up and take a breath and lower down and let everything relax. If you're starting to cramp up, I would cease. Otherwise, if you're not cramping up, 2 more times, press down, lift your hips up, take a breath, lower down, let everything relax. Last one, heels on the chair, press down, lift your hips up, take a breath, and lower and relax. Nice work. Okay, take your feet off the chair and hug your knees into your chest. Just release, do whatever feels nice here. I always like to sway a little bit. Bring your knees center, and with your hands, just open your knees apart. Take your knees out wide. With your knees apart, bring your heels up toward the ceiling. Now, a couple of options here. We can grab the inner line of the legs and just pull the knees out and down. Or you could grab your ankles and pull your heels down over your knees. Or you can take 2 fingers and grab your big toes and then kind of weight your heels over your knees. Either way, it's just kind of dropping those wide knees further wide and down toward the floor. And as you're here, you can just kind of hang out here. You could gently sway a little side to side. Or option to bring one heel in toward the midline and take the other leg way out to the side and take a breath. And then that heel can start to come back in toward the midline, and the other heel can stretch way out to the side, pulling that heel out and down, and you could take a breath here. And then you can let that heel come back in toward the midline. You could, again, stack your heels over your knees, or you might want to explore taking both heels way out wide, pulling out and down, big straddle. Take a breath in and out. And then both heels just drawing back in toward the midline. We can let go of our feet. Drop the feet to the floor. Take your feet slightly wider than your hips, maybe about as wide as your mat, and gently let your knees drop in toward the midline if that feels fine for your hips. Sometimes that's a nice counter pose. We're going to breathe in and out here. Separate your knees. Let's bring the knees into the chest and then roll towards your device till your knees stacked come on top of each other. The bottom arm on the floor is going to come straight out from your shoulder. Your other hand is going to stack fingertip to fingertip, palm over palm. Then let's scooch our knees up close to our elbows so we're tucked in tight. And then that top arm will reach it up toward the ceiling and reach it back towards the wall behind us, trying to keep your knees stacked here. As that arm reaches back, your gaze goes up toward the ceiling. And we'll breathe in and out here, nice deep breaths. Let that exhale empty out of you. And take one more deep breath in and out. Releasing that breath all the way out. Then that arm from behind can come back up toward the ceiling, back down on that bottom arm. We're just going to roll onto the back and roll all the way to the other side so that your knees are stacked. Your bottom arm is straight out on the floor in front of you. Top hand comes right on top of it. We'll bring our knees up close to our elbows, tucked in tight. We'll take that top hand up toward the ceiling As it reaches back behind, rolling the head to look up at the ceiling, trying to keep your knees stacked here. And then deep breaths, flowing in and down and emptying all the way out. One more full emptying of breath. And then that arm from behind can come back up, come all the way down. We're going to start to transition to our final relaxation. So a good time to kind of assess what you need to be comfortable. Maybe you want to put on a layer. Maybe you want to use a blanket to support your head or cover yourself up with, or a pillow. What could you offer yourself to provide the most comfort? And then you can lie yourself back. So that was a fairly muscle intensive yoga practice this morning. We really engaged many, many muscles of the body. We listened to a lot of instruction. We asked ourselves to do many things. And now we do the opposite. We make ourselves so comfortable that we can lie back on the floor and we can allow the entire body an opportunity to just be as it is when it's not being asked to do anything. So as we lie back, the muscles that hold us up don't have to work. And we're not engaging our muscles in any way. And certain muscles work to pump the blood through our bodies and so forth, to move the breath. But all the other muscles can relax now. When we build strength, we kind of strain the muscles a bit, we kind of tear them a little bit. And then it's in the rebuilding process that we actually gain strength. You know, when we stretch a muscle, it's a little hard on the muscle. And then it releases and it kind of has a chance to regenerate or, find its stasis. And so we're allowing the muscular body a chance to rebuild itself. And the state of our muscular body has a very strong relationship with the state of our minds. So when we allow the body to relax, not only does it affect the state of our body, but you may notice that your mind calms down a little bit. Especially if you can get the facial muscles to relax. So releasing any tension in the forehead, between the eyes, the temples, the cheeks, the jaw, the throat. Let all of those muscles soften and smooth, release and relax. And as the body and the mind rest, just let yourself be as you are. Let yourself experience this sense of freedom, openness, rest in the fullness of this experience of being here as you are now. Sometimes we feel kind of weighed down. And in Shavasana, we have a chance to kind of shed all the stuff that we're carrying. And maybe experience a sense of lightness. A sense of releasing our cares, a sense of carefreeness. Perhaps we can connect with that carefree spirit that's within us, that lightness, that light, that spark that shines within us. Each of us has this light, this spark that animates us. The spark of our being that has been with us since the day we were born. Feel that within you. Recognize that light, that lightness. In yoga, we use the phrase namaste, which is an invitation to connect with that light that's within us and recognize that that same light is in each of us. Underneath all the divisions and differences that we see between us and others, deep down, we're all this light, this spark, this beautiful person that came into the world. Connecting to that light within us has the potential to allow us to see that more readily in others and understand that this is something we share that connects us. So spend another few moments just enjoying this lightness of being. And you can continue lying back if you like, or you can begin to open your eyes, bring your feet to the floor. You could gently roll to the side, take a little time to transition. And we'll be kind and gentle with ourselves as we make our way up. It can be nice to close out our practice with a few moments for some quiet reflection. Taking some time to recognize a few things for which we're grateful. And with deep gratitude, peace. So I appreciate you all being here today. If you want to check in and say hello to me or your friends, you're welcome to do so.
Me too.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks.